You can visualize, set goals, and try to manifest all day long. But if your identity stays the same, well, then your life usually does too. So today I want to talk about what identity really is and why it may be the invisible force that's keeping you stuck. So, your identity is a collection of beliefs, stories, and assumptions that you hold about yourself. So, something happens in your reality. You make a decision about yourself, you form a belief, then you find evidence that says it's true, and that becomes part of your identity. And now, most of this happens unconsciously through childhood experiences. So, for example, let's say there's a 5-year-old child who has a box of crayons, and this kid is having so much fun coloring. They're being creative and expressing themselves. They are having so much fun using all different colors, and they've got a big, bright, beautiful yellow sun and the green grass, flowers, and they are just so proud of what they've created. And so they run to get their parent, and their parent comes in and screams, "No, what have you done?" Because the child has colored on the wall. And so in that moment, that child makes an assumption about the situation. And what that might look like is being creative or expressing myself is not safe. I might get in trouble. And so, fast forward into their adult life, and this is someone who goes around with a limiting belief that says, I'm not creative. This is someone who holds themselves back, who doesn't express themselves, and they have the excuse of, I'm just not creative. But no, they are creative. They just shut that down when they were a child. So your identity becomes a problem when it's built around limiting beliefs and disempowering stories because your identity determines the way you think, the way you feel, the way you respond to life. If you believe you're shy, you'll act shy. If you believe you're not good enough, well, you'll unconsciously make choices that reinforce that belief. If you believe you're unlucky, you'll notice evidence that supports that story. We don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And so, this is what's called the mirror principle, because life often reflects back to us the assumptions that we hold about ourselves. See, most people are trying to change their circumstances without changing the identity that created those circumstances. Think of it like this: your conscious mind sets goals, your subconscious mind runs the program. So your identity is held in your subconscious mind. So now, if your identity and your goals are conflicting, it's your identity that wins. This is why affirmations sometimes don't work. You're trying to install a new belief on top of an old identity. And real transformation happens when the identity itself begins to change. And the reason why change is so hard is because the brain and the nervous system are designed to seek out what's familiar. And what's familiar isn't always good, but it's known and it's predictable and it feels safe. People stay in situations they don't enjoy because they know them. Old habits feel comfortable because they're familiar. Old identities feel safe because you've lived them for years. And so when you're acting as a new version of yourself, it can feel fake, awkward, scary, uncomfortable. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. That means that you're stepping beyond the identity that you've known. See, growth is uncomfortable because you're leaving behind who you've been. So now ask yourself this: who am I being today? What identity am I reinforcing with my thoughts feelings, and choices. So here's your challenge. Think about the version of you that you want to become, and then ask, what's one small action that this version of you would take today? And then go do that, and then do it again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And as always, I will see you on the next video.